Hi ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are doing amazing and taking care of yourselves really well today. Good morning or good afternoon in whichever part of the world you are. And today I decided to make a video that is going to talk about the chosen ones and obsession, okay? Obsession that comes from other people, okay? Towards the chosen ones. And more often than not, this obsession it can be, I wouldn't say dangerous necessarily, but it could lead to that too. This obsession usually comes from, well, first of all, right, I will kind of give you like a small breakdown of this obsession that relates to psychology, right? So I will give you the psychological breakdown, and then we'll also discuss the spiritual breakdown, okay? So, of course, psychology doesn't cover the spiritual aspects of a human being, right? Although it is there and it's the unseen, right? And so we have to consider this, okay? And so, of course, as a spiritual being, right, or being of light, God's child, there's a huge difference when it comes to your awareness. When you, after the spiritual awakening, you will see things from a completely different perspective, and you will also be able to see the spiritual side, right? Not necessarily see, but definitely feel it, okay? Because as you are, when you do spiritually awaken, you become much more in tune with the world that's around you, okay? And so, you can see sort of beyond the veil, okay? So the veil basically gets lifted, right? And so now you can, I suppose, even see, right? Because there's the energy, right? And so you can very quickly tell what is going on a spiritual level, okay, and not just the physical, right? So, but once again, right, psychology just is very limited because they do just cover the physical side of a human mind, right, and human behavior and so on, right? And so, of course, I like to get into both, right? I am a huge lover of psychology, so we will, on this channel, we will definitely discuss a lot of psychological aspects of being a human being too, because I do love psychology, you know, and and I think it's also really important to understand and include also, you know, but I do think it is limiting, okay, and so, yeah. Anyways, so guys, let's discuss why people get obsessed in the first place, okay? So obsession, right, stems from, first of all, right, a person that's experiencing a lot of external stress can become obsessed, okay? So I suppose it's like a way for them to take their mind off of something stressful, right? And so, and focus on something else instead, okay? Like the object of their desire or something like that, right? Then, right, there's another issue, right? There's the genetic predisposition to it, okay? So supposedly there's a genetic predisposition to being more obsessed than another person, okay? So there's that, right? And the third reason, okay, is that the chemicals in the brain of an individual who's more likely to become obsessed are a little bit different, okay? And so there are slight differences in that person's brain chemicals, okay? So that's your third reason, okay? Of course, the reason why a lot of people also become obsessed, right, is not a lot of people, but like you get the point. The reason why people get obsessed with other people is also idealization, right? And so they tend to idolize another person, right? And so they think they are ignoring all the imperfections that this person has, right? And they're not really seeing them as a human being, right? And so what tends to happen is that they put them on a pedestal, right? And so when we place someone on a pedestal, we're not doing them justice, right? We're actually we're failing to see them as a human being, right? It's like what a lot of people do to celebrities, right? They get this image of a celebrity, which is of course created by other people, okay? And so this image is created by other people, right? Because celebrities are always told like what to wear, what to say it, how to communicate, how to hold themselves, what their body language should be like, right? And so that's what happens, right, with celebrities. And so it's kind of like this, I mean, I suppose it's a similar situation, right? In this case, only you're dealing with not a celebrity, right? But anyways, but when it comes to, at least physically speaking, right? And so, like, when it comes to obsessions, right, people tend to idolize. Okay, so the object of obsession is like is placed on a pedestal, okay, and the obsessed individual views them as someone who is ideal, who is an ideal, right? And especially if they cannot get to this person easily, right? If they don't have like direct access to them, right? Or easy access where they even know them that well, right? So this can happen, okay? So this can happen with former lovers, okay? Or former even acquaintances, okay? So in most situations, like stalking, for example, right? Obsession, it begins with obsession and then it turns into stalking also, right? And stalking behavior is also quite interesting because you know, people start stalking that individual, right? For example, the one that they were obsessed with, right? And the reason why they're doing this is because they, once again, they idolize this person, right? Or also, it's also a form of gaining control over the situation, or even maintaining that connection that they perhaps made, even if it was like a one-time connection, guys, believe it or not, okay? So stalkers tend to be someone that the individual has already met, like at least once, you know? Maybe they don't know this person that well, maybe they just like met them once, you know? Maybe it was like a really quick interaction, you know? So, yes, in most cases, stalkers tend to be people from the past that have encountered that the person that they're stalking. Okay, so they have had encounters with this person already. Okay, even just once or many times too. Okay, so these people can be the stalkers can be like past lovers, right? And so yes. And once again, in the stalker's mind, right, the person is, in most cases, the people who are doing the stalking, they are toxic individuals, unfortunately, okay? And I will go into the spiritual reasoning behind this, okay? And I will explain why, okay? But the person that becomes obsessed and starts stalking, okay, they also view the desired object or the person of their infatuation, perhaps, right? They view them as objects, okay, as if these people belong to them. So sort of like possessions, right? And so they're like, hey, this is my possession, and by stalking them, I will kind of like, I will let them know. Sometimes they do let them let the object of their obsession, sometimes they do let them know that they're there and they're watching them. You know, I've had this happen to me in the past, guys. I got a note, okay, and it was really, really scary, you know. But anyways, so now that we discussed the stalker or the obsessive person, right? Let's get into the reason why they become obsessed, okay? And so the reason is much more, it's not just psychological, okay? Although it is, right? But there's a bigger reason, okay? In most cases, the obsessed individuals are in the darkness, okay, they're extremely deep in the darkness, and they usually get obsessed with people of light, right? People that are godly, right? God's children, people that have basically found their light, or people that have pretty much always had it, right? It's never really been dimmed, right? Even though others or situations have presented themselves, very challenging situations that almost dim their light, but not quite, right? And so an unawakened individual like this, right, like let's just call them empaths, right, because they are very empathetic, right, and they have big hearts, right, and so they've got a lot of light, a lot of compassion, right, and so a lot of warmth. So even when this actually no, let's get back to this, right? So when this person, a person like this, is unawakened and unaware, they will let this obsession of someone else's get to their head. So they might think, wow, like I'm great, you know, I'm so great, like I'm so pretty, I'm so handsome, right? That and they might be, but then they might be okay, right? Looking, it has little to do with looks actually, okay? But their egos might let them think that it's about the looks, right? It's about their, I don't know, personality, maybe that, you know, they might start thinking like they're so great that people are obsessed with them, right? But in this case, right, like I said, it's not always the case, okay? And why it's not always the case is because it's not about you, okay? It's not about you. It's not about you, God's child, right? It's about another individual, okay? It's about the fact that more often than not, they are in need of this light that you have, that's within you, that you found perhaps, right? Because we are all on different paths in our journey, right? And so some of us are very lost, right? And individuals that are really, really dark, they're extremely lost. And in fact, spiritually speaking, they're drowning, they're in hell, right? They're in a lot of pain. They're experiencing a lot of chaos, a lot of drama in their life, right? Perhaps they're even possessed, right? And so their body is on the verge of getting very sick. I've known people like this who have gotten cancer. That's actually very common, okay? And so when you're spiritually sick, right, because that's how it starts, you're more likely to get, you know, physically sick too, right? And that usually follows, okay, very, very soon. So this individual, if they encounter someone who is a God's child, right, who's got the light, they're going to latch on to this individual. They're going to latch on, and they're going to try to keep them in their life, okay? Because they don't understand that, in a sense, what they're doing is they know that the individual of light is going to impact them in a positive way, so they're going to find their own light, right? Of course, they're doing all of this unconsciously, right? But they can sense this, they know unconsciously, they pick up on the fact that this individual, the light being, the individual that carries the light, they can help them. They can help them, they can heal them, they can help them heal, okay? So that's why they latch on. Guys, in the past, I've literally had guys who became obsessive and started stalking, right? And I had to hide from a guy in a restaurant and like, you know, and yeah, at the time I kind of took it to my head a little bit. I was like, wow, you know, like I'm being stalked. I must be great, you know, like I must be very good looking, right? But once again, guys, it doesn't have it doesn't have too much to do with your looks, okay? Although, yeah, maybe that might individual like you too, physically speaking, right? That's not necessarily the case. It's not about you. It's about that individual. It's about the fact that they're drowning in their darkness. They might be on drugs. They might be experiencing all kinds of chaos in their life, all kinds of confusion. They can't get their life on track. They're disorganized. Everything is a mess, basically, right? So there's a lot of chaos that comes with those individuals, right? And so you know, a lot of times, right, they are possessed, they are oppressed, demonically oppressed, right? So they have a lot of dark attachments, and the individual, the human being behind them, the light being, right, is desperately seeking help, desperately, okay? So they don't know, most of the time they don't know, they don't understand that they have to do the work themselves. Nobody can do the work for them, you know? So yes, that being of light, the godly child, right, they will definitely be able to help them in more ways than one when it comes to even actually casting out those dark entities and spirits, okay? It depends on that. It depends on that individual's level of awareness, but God's children, right? They do have this authority, right? So there's that, right? And so so it depends on the empath that they come across, okay? So even the empaths, depending on how strong the empath is, their energy varies, but it's usually pretty strong, right? But when they awaken, when they come to their true power, right, of who they are, they will be especially strong, right? And so that what that means is that their energy is extremely potent now, right, in a good way. And so even being around them, okay, can heal others. You guys, I always I've seen this happen many times before, okay? So when I'm feeling really good and I go aside, you know, hold on a second. All right, I'm back. Anyway, so there's construction work going on, so just sorry if you can hear anything, you might, okay? So anyway, so let's get back to this, right? So what was I saying? Okay, and so the individual that's obsessed doesn't understand that they have to go within and they have to do the inner healing work, right? And so, but at the same time, of course, because the empath is so open, right? They're so warm, they're so understanding, right? They're not judgmental, and they usually they know that by talking to this individual, by engaging with them, over time they will start healing, right? And so just being being in their energy is so healing, okay, guys? I always go out, guys, so like whenever I go out with in a very good mood, I always have people like just coming up to me, and sometimes even trying to sit very close to me, right? And I'm like, whoa, you know, I don't particularly like that too much, right? Because I don't know, personally speaking, right, I like my space, you know. I don't like people like violating my boundaries, right? And I guess none of us do, right? And so, but it's also a cultural thing, right? Like here in Bulgaria, people do like to come closer, right? And so that's okay, right? In America, I guess maybe because I grew up in America, right? Like we tend to keep our space, but I don't think it's necessarily, like for me, it's not necessarily a cultural thing, right? It's just something that I prefer as an individual. I just prefer like a little bit more space, even though I am very warm, right? And like physical touch is like my body language. It really is, you know. But at the same time, I don't really like. I am really careful with my energy, right? And so, but for some reason, and not for some reason, but I told you the reason behind this, right? Is your warmth, your non-judgmental attitude, your healing nature, right? People can sense all of this. People can pick up on your energy, and they want to just like interact with you. They want to come very close to you. They just want to sit next to you. They want to sit in your energy because it makes them feel good, you know. It reminds them. It's like a light being is it's like, it's kind of like being in the dark, right? And seeing the light, you know. Some people will be repelled by it, right? Some people will lash out. So people will have different reactions, you know, based on where they're at in their spiritual journeys, you know. And so, yeah, some people will not react well, especially those that are in the darkness, right? Or if they do, it really depends, right? But more often than not, if I think if the physical attraction is also there, right? Although it doesn't always have to be, but if it is there, like an individual that's like this is going to latch on to that person, right? Or if it's a family member too, you know, I've had this happen with my family members, right? And so these individuals, they tend to grab onto you and they just want to keep you like locked in a cage, basically, right? They don't want to share. You become like they're not Lucky Charm, but you become like their light, and they want to like take this light for themselves. They become very possessive, obsessive over you, and you know, they don't want anyone, it's like they don't want anyone else to have this light. They want it for themselves. What they don't realize is that they need to heal within. They need to do the work themselves, right? They can't just like steal someone else's light, right? Because it doesn't work like this, right? But the individual behind, you know, the individual who has found the light, or who has the light, right? They can help. They can definitely help the individual that's stuck in the darkness, okay? Especially after a spiritual awakening, okay? Because guys, you have to remember, right? There's a huge difference between an individual who has the light individual, or the empath who has awakened, and who hasn't, okay? The one who hasn't awakened yet, and I might make a separate video on that, right? They are still, they can operate into different places. They can still operate from a place of darkness and from the light, right? And so they might still engage in a lot of sinful behavior, basically, right? Which makes them lost too, you know, and they might still be very much in their ego too, you know, and so they might not notice a lot of spiritual things that have taken place that were, for example, for their own good, right? Or maybe their blessings. They might not notice any of those things because of their ego, okay? Our ego, guys, blinds us, okay? That's why you have to go through the death of your ego in order to find your truth, in order to finally see beyond or behind the veil, okay? Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I think I'm gonna end it here. I think I mentioned everything. Maybe I forgot some things, I don't know. I always forget to mention certain things in my videos. Usually I'll just make a comment if I do forget something, you know. But yeah, let me know if you enjoyed this video, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, okay? Thanks for subscribing, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my courses, my videos, my book, okay? I'm sure you'll find it really, really helpful and useful in your life, okay? I made this for you guys from my heart, okay? And I think when you do something from your heart, then it always benefits, you know, other people. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and stay tuned for another video, okay? Bye.